I'm Kiera Morgan. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Coffee with Kiera. We are here with Samantha Buckley, who is the Lincoln County Emergency Manager. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Kiera. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited for this interview. Emergency management, it sounds crazy, but it's something that I'm very passionate about and I love.
Yeah, I love to hear it. It's good.
So first of all, tell folks a little bit about yourself and what your job is as the emergency manager.
So I've been with Lincoln County since 2018. I was originally in the assistant emergency manager role, and I did that for a number of years under Jenny Damaris, our previous emergency manager. And we worked together through Echo Mountain fire, as well as COVID and a few other crazy days together, and we had a great time. And so when she left as much of a good time as you can in an emergency, we were a great team.
You're a great team.
Yeah, we were such a great team. So when she left in September, I decided to apply for the emergency management job and was able to secure the position. So I've been in this role just since December, so not too long, but I feel like I've been learning a lot, and I'm really happy to be here.
Yay, we're so glad that to have a familiar face that took over in this role. That's really important for people. And you work a lot with a lot of folks throughout Lincoln County. So I know that Newport and Lincoln City both have emergency managers as well. Can you talk about your collaboration with other cities and other entities?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're very lucky in Lincoln County. We have a lot of emergency managers here, which is great. It makes for a really robust support system. So we have Cassidy in Lincoln City. She's the emergency manager for the city of Lincoln City. And then we have Dell in the city of Newport. And we also have Randy Storms for the Siletz tribe. So we have a really nice group amongst us. And that doesn't include our hospital emergency managers or our school district. So there's a lot of us here that can all lean on each other and collaborate with each other. So it's a really nice community to be a part of. We work together regularly. We do exercises together, and we have quarterly meetings amongst the primary emergency managers, so me, Cassidy, Dell, and Randy, where we kind of talk about what we're working on, what kind of grants we're applying for, what projects we're focused on, just to sort of make sure that we've got good collaboration and we all sort of have eyes and can support each other as needed. And I feel like that's been a system that's really worked well. Since I'm still pretty new, that's a little bit of a newer system that we've just started, and but I think it's really working for us, and so it's been really good. And I really appreciate them. They shoot me texts when they need something or they want to check in, and it's the same when we have an event during the ice storm. I feel like I knew who to call in each of those locations to get assistance, and that's lovely. That's really important in an emergency.
And it's made for a really nice, smooth transition with things. So like you mentioned, the ice storm, everybody knew exactly what was going on, what to do, what areas had power, where you didn't, where you could go. That was really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. During the ice storm, which was a really unique event, when we talk about preparedness on the coast,
ice usually isn't involved.
Yeah, we don't usually talk about an ice event resulting in a multi-day power outage, right? That's pretty weird, knock on wood. And so I think it was a really interesting first event for me without Jenny. And also, for that collaboration piece, we set up something called cooperator calls pretty early on in that event, so that we were able to get all of our partners at the table and have these conversations about, how long do we think the power outage is going to go, right? What areas do the roads absolutely need to be cleared on for priority areas, things like that. And we started that pretty early in the event, and so that communication, there's always hiccups and bumps, but communication is one of the hardest pieces. And so I think having that set up pretty early was really beneficial to us, and we learned a lot about how we wanted to do that next time so that it was smoother and that we were more efficient in getting that call set up. And so I think that was definitely I really learned a lot in that event, and I'm really proud of what we were able to accomplish, since that was I think my third or fourth week alone here. So it was definitely kind of okay, here we go, we're doing this, we're gonna do it and we're gonna make it work.
I'd say trial by fire, but it was more trial by ice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, it's a really exciting event. And I'll also just put a plug in that we have these other emergency managers and they're so amazing, but we also have really engaged communities that don't have emergency managers, where a great example is Depot Bay. They don't have an emergency manager on staff, but they have an emergency preparedness committee, and they are super engaged. Same with Toledo. They don't have an emergency manager, but they had a staff person that was super engaged with us. And so we have these other connections that we're able to loop in with, where they took actions independently to support their community, and then we're able to report those things back to us so that we had eyes on what was going on as well. So I feel like Lincoln County did I'm really proud of Lincoln County's response in that event.
Yeah, we've got a lot in this county to be proud of.
Yeah.
And that we don't have the pettiness or the fighting that some other areas do, because we are such a large county. There's a lot of coverage that needs to be done. We recently had the big event at the airport.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. That was exciting.
Yeah, that was really big. So we are very lucky in Lincoln County to have received some resources at the airport from ODHS, Oregon Department of Human Services. They have a team of folks within their organization called ORUM that focuses specifically on emergency management and resilience. And their part of that response is focused on the human need piece around sheltering. So they were able to receive some funding to provide these evacuation assembly points to various locations on the coast, and we were able to get one. And so they provided us with a bunch of very heavy duty tents, and it was a bathroom tent and a showering tent and a meal tent and a command and control tent. So all these different physical supplies, as well as some MREs and a variety of other things, a medical tent, that we practiced standing up for 2 days at the airport. And it was really fun. We did one day where we stood up everything. We did some public information pieces and a press briefing and some tours, and then they had some helicopter demonstrations.
Some drones.
Yeah,
it was
some really cool drones.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And
it was fun.
It was really fun watching how they did it as if it was live action, something really happening. So, the drones coming in and dropping a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
It was water. And then they getting on the radio and saying, okay, we have a patient that needs, insulin or whatever it was. And then the next drone came in and dropped a medical pack, and then it's like, okay, we've got to get it to the patient right now. And that was really incredible. And what a great team. Scappoose, right?
I believe so. Mm-hmm.
That did the drones, and seeing it was great to see folks from Lincoln City, folks from Walport, from everywhere, kind of coming together and doing this. For me, it was like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in so long.
Yeah,
so
totally.
It was like old home week for me.
Yeah, that's
But
like
it
one
was
of the
a
most
lot of
important
fun.
parts. Yeah, too. I feel like is that right? Like doing that face-to-face piece
Mhm.
is so important. So yeah, it was cool. And some of us stayed overnight. Did you stay overnight? No.
I didn't know.
No.
No.
Okay. Well, some of us froze in the tents. I touched my mic again.
I was gonna say I like my nice warm bed
Yeah.
and will not leave it unless I have to.
Smart choice.
Yeah, Casey Miller, our county commissioner, was there, and I guess he stayed the night. And I said, I wanted to talk to you about what it was like staying the night. And he said, I can sum it up in one word: cold.
Yeah.
Because even though it was summer, it was June,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very windy.
Yeah.
And those are things that it's good that it was like that, because now okay, we need some extra blankets, we need some ways of maybe having some little heaters, or having something to make people who are going to be there be more comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we learned a lot of really valuable lessons at that event, for sure. and things to think about for future grant purchases, and
Mm-hmm.
what can we add and what do we need. So definitely a fun, unique opportunity. So
That was great.
yeah.
And so let's talk about what's going on now. We're mid-July heading into August, which are the hottest seasons. Wasn't always that way. Lincoln County's kind of shifted with our weather. We got a little bit of rain last night.
Yes, we
I
did.
woke up
Yep.
going, what is that?
It was cold last
I
night.
don't remember that sound.
Yeah.
And it was rain on the roof. Then it went away. So we've had warmer temperatures during the summer months and into the fall here in Lincoln County. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of safety with the warmer weather, and especially, East County is seeing those, upper 90s and even triple digits.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the last few years, obviously after Echo Mountain, there's been a really big push for education around fire, and how do we protect ourselves and how do we prevent wildfire from happening. And so as our summers tend to be warmer, right? Especially in East County, you drive 10 minutes inland and you're sweating. It's really important for us to consider what those places should be doing to help improve their resilience and reduce their fire risk. And so there's a lot of different ways that we can do that, right? We try to teach people about defensible space, which is creating space around your home. So should there be a fire, and if there is, it is less likely to impact your home if there is less burnable material around your home. And there has been a fair amount of research on that, and there's a lot of valuable resources online for how to best do that so that you can protect your home and your resources should we have a fire. But we also talk a lot about what you can do as an individual around, only having, first of all, checking your fire restrictions where you live, right? Are you allowed to have a fire? Are you allowed to burn, right? These aren't things that officials are doing to restrict your freedoms, right? They are things that that officials are doing to protect us and our community, right? And so when there are burn bans in place, those are being done truly for the protection of our communities and our county. And so those are really serious, and you definitely want to check those before you're doing any burning, but also before you're doing work outside, right? Those restrictions also go for chainsaws, mowing your lawn sometimes. And then very recently, last week, we did have a small fire near Toledo, and that was caused by an automobile having some faulty equipment that was sparking. Correct.
Issue.
Yeah, so that I think is another concern, right? And we talk about that particular piece a lot with towing, where we talk about making sure your chains aren't dangling on the ground, but it doesn't just mean towing, right? It means any mechanical issue that might be resulting in a spark that could potentially cause a fire. And so these are definitely things you think about as you move into fire season that we hope that people become more aware of. And the other side of that I feel like we talk a lot less about in Lincoln County, but that I want people to be aware of, especially after our weird ice storm, is the impacts of heat. And, we have a lot of residents that have not had to have air conditioning, and that's very real, right? We're very, very lucky. But as it gets hotter, or should it continue to get hotter every summer, considering what that means for you in your home, especially if you are a person who does not have as easy access to leave to go find cooler temperatures, is really important. And there are some programs where people can get, or there used to be programs where people could get air conditioners through the state. I'd have to research if those still exist, but there are opportunities and options and ways to find, I think, cheaper air conditioners, or creating fans that blow cooler weather with ice packs on the back so that people can stay cooler. Heat is definitely one of our bigger risks in Oregon. It's one of our deadlier climate related hazards in Oregon, and we are very lucky in Lincoln County to have not seen those results yet, and we have to be conscious of that as a possible future. So
and when it's really hot in the valley, we have noticed there is a definite increase in people coming to the coast. If you watch a local news channel and they say it's triple digits, but it's nice and cool in the 70s on the coast, so go that way, and we're going.
Also, the longer I live here, the more I'm like, 70s is hot. Am I sweating in the 70s? Or and everybody's like, it's so nice. Yeah.
So we're seeing those warmer temperatures. That's going to mean seeing an increase in people.
Correct.
So you have to be safe where that's concerned.
Absolutely.
as well. And good point about the air conditioning. But with those higher temperatures, there are occasionally cooling centers that are set up. I know Siletz Valley Rural Fire Department during the really triple digit, really hot weather that we had in East County. It was in the 80s on the coast, so we were dying, but they set up a cooling center there where they had, some little water pools, and they had, a cool space and drinks and staying hydrated. That's super important.
Absolutely.
During the hot weather as well.
Yeah, hydration is really important. If a local community sets up a cooling shelter, that's an option. And I know in the valley they do that quite a bit more than we typically do. So, but something to be thinking about. And I think the other piece that's really important is knowing your neighbors, right? Does your neighbor have air? Could you chill out there during the hottest part of the day, right? It doesn't have to be all day. It could just be a couple hours, right? Like from 3 to 6 or whatever when it's super hot, and then you can maybe go open your home up when the sun goes down and run those fans and cool it back down again. So just kind of thinking creatively about how we can help each other and what you could maybe do now or in the off season to sort of build in some of that resilience for the future seasons.
And let's talk a little bit about having an emergency kit, because that's also really important, whether it's, heat related, fire, water, ice, whatever may be thrown our way. It's important to have a go kit. And this is something that Jenny and I talked a lot about before too, was that it can be a simple thing of just getting a few items at the dollar store and putting them in your bag, having a couple of bags, making sure you have a bag for each family member, making sure you have medication, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you were doing, I was like, great. What else, Kiera? Tell me more. Yeah, you hit a lot of it just in that, right? So you definitely want to have something. And I think to go back to the Toledo fire last week, right? Like if you are in an evacuation area and you have to leave quickly, right? You get that level 3 go now evacuation. You want to have something ready to go that you can throw in your car and leave. And that has to have enough stuff to get you through, right? Because you don't always know how long that's going to be. And so medications, super important, right? Maybe a second set of reading glasses, an old pair of glasses, super important, right? An extra pair of clothes, we talk about that sometimes, right? A lot of times I think when we talk about go kits, it can feel really big because we talk about Cascadia. And Cascadia is very important.
It's very real and very important.
But sometimes scaling it down to just like okay, I'm not going to be in my house for 5 days because I got evacuated, what do I need, can be really helpful. And that's still a foundation for some stuff you would need during Cascadia too, right? Any preparedness is better than no preparedness, and that's a great place to start, is thinking, okay, if I was evacuated for you can start with 5 days, right? For 5 days, what do I absolutely need, right? I need these essentials, right? I need to know how to access my important information, my banking information, right? Maybe you can drive to the next town over to get internet, right? So you can still get that information online. So making sure you have access to important information in a virtual sphere, making sure you have your essential physical supplies, maybe a few snacks. I'm a really big fan of keeping granola bars in my car all the time.
Trail mix.
Yeah, partially because I'm a hungry person, but partially because if I get stuck on the side of the road and I'm in the middle of nowhere, which I love to go to, I want to know I'm going to have a snack there. And same with like a gallon of water. I usually keep a gallon of water in my car as well. And that's not going to get you through weeks, but it's going to get you through a minute to gather yourself, to think creatively, and to sort of get a sense of what your next step should be. So I feel like that's a really good start.
And if you have kids and pets,
Absolutely.
That's important to plan for. Kiddos need things to keep their brains occupied.
Yes, they
so
do.
Some books, some cards, some simple, games that you can have in your car that you might travel with. Diapers. Do you have little ones? Do you need diaper wipes? I keep diapers and diaper wipes in my. I don't have kids anymore, but I have grandkids, and you never know when things are going to happen. And having even a package of wipes
Yes.
is super, super helpful.
Excellent.
Having your first aid kit.
Oh, duh, the biggest one I didn't even mention it. Yeah. I have
just
two in
thought
my
of it.
car all the time. Yeah. So
I was
smart.
going through in my mind what's in my car.
Yeah. Good.
And then, like you said, having some of those easy foods, but you also have to watch the salt. I learned that from
Yes.
Jenny.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, the little, just add water soup cups. And she said, those have a lot of sodium.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're going to run into that with a lot of heavily processed foods. And, like, again, it's one thing when we're thinking about Cascadia. Like, if you're only eating cups of soup for months, that's going to be a lot, right? If it's for a few days to pull you through, it might be okay. And it might also be comforting.
Yeah.
To eat a warm soup.
noodles,
Yeah. So I definitely agree that you're going to want to watch the sodium for our longer term planning. But for our shorter term planning, I feel like whatever you can get is good.
And that's also something that the majority of kids will eat.
Yes.
So, having some crackers,
Maybe fruit
I've got a
snacks.
granddaughter who gets, very, what is it, hangry.
Yeah.
She'd do
Same.
great with a Snickers commercial. And so we keep granola bars and things, right there, access to, right in the glove box that, when I pick her up from school and she's cranky, it's, here, will you eat and become human, please?
Yeah.
I am human. Anyway. Yeah.
Absolutely. Very relatable, honestly. I think I'm that way. Yeah. The other thing for kids and for adults, I think, is a comfort item. And sometimes I
Yes.
say this and I feel like people don't want to admit as adults that you are also going to need comfort when something stressful is going to happen. So for a kiddo, maybe that's a stuffed animal or something like that. For an adult, I don't know, like maybe you have a favorite
dog.
couch blanket that you always sit with. Can you grab that when you're running out the door, right? And then you at least have something to, or a photo of a loved one, or, whatever the case may be that can help you recenter and get that comfort for yourself too, because it's going to be stressful for the grown-ups too, so.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's
think
not
of your
something
dog.
that's easy to recover.
No, it takes
It's
a long
not,
time.
we're still recovering. People may think, oh yeah, Echo Mountain, that was, 3 years, 4 years ago. No, it is still happening. People are still homeless from that. People are still trying to recover and get their lives back together. A lot of people lost absolutely everything, and I can't even imagine trying to restart after that. So it's a lot, but Lincoln County has some great things in place, still continuing to help folks, right?
Yeah, we have a long-term recovery group in Lincoln County that does work with the survivors of the fire, and they are still in process with them, helping some of those folks get back on their feet for sure. And it takes a long time. And Lincoln County is not, we're not like different from other counties in that way. That is universal to recovery. It takes a long time. So definitely something to be aware of. And on that note, check your insurance policies. Check them now, right, before the event, so that you know what it says and what you might be able to get back should you lose even just some of your stuff, right?
Well, and putting stuff, this is something that I have to practice what I preach, putting your documents, scanning them, and getting them on a thumb drive. Actually two, one for you that's in your go bag, and one to give to someone that's a friend or relative that's out of the area, so that if, God forbid, something happens, you can call up your kiddo and go, hey, I need those documents, and they have that. That's really important too.
Yeah, and if you don't have somebody out of the area, you can also use a cloud to save. And I know the cloud is not always tech friendly for everyone, but there's a lot of resources out there to help people get that set up. I think sometimes they charge monthly fees, but it's another option, right? It's something to think about if you don't, because not everyone has someone, right? So there's lots of ways. There's lots of workarounds.
So as we wrap up, because we could talk forever.
I know, I'm very chatty. I'm sorry, Kiera.
So am I. We're a good team. So as we wrap up, let's talk about some future events. There's a Get Ready event in September.
Yes, we are having our annual readiness fair in September. It will be on September 7th this year. That's a Saturday. And it's gonna follow a similar format to previous years with lots of booths of information and vendors, not selling things, just providing information. So lots of our community
Bigfoot's been
members. Yeah, it's going to be really fun, good stuff. And then we'll probably try to do a few new things this year as well and offer a little presentation schedule with some opportunities for community members to learn from other folks in the community. So
Awesome.
yeah, we're looking for some folks that can talk about their experience, whatever that may look like. And that way we can have more interactions with regular people to regular people. I mean, I know that like as a subject matter expert, it's really great to share that, but it's even better when you can hear it from someone like you.
Peer to peer.
Yeah. So we're looking forward to getting that going. And
is Northwest Natural going to be on board again?
Yeah, they'll be there, and they'll
They're
have
awesome.
hot dogs
Great
and
partner.
hamburgers, so they're great. Yeah, and then
That's how I get my husband to these things. There'll be food.
come
You
get
can
a
do it.
free
There'll be food.
food item, hang out, learn about preparedness. We'll probably have some of those bars chopped up again, so you can try those weird, like you're always like, do I buy that meal bar? Come try it before you put it in your go bag. So that'll be fun. And then on September 14th, the City of Lincoln City is actually hosting their own readiness fair. So Cassidy, their emergency manager, has taken that project on, and I don't know for sure what she has planned yet, but I'm really excited. I'm excited that she's gonna have some engagement and that we'll get to do back-to-backs, and it's gonna be a busy and fun September.
Well, that's fantastic because it is still the busy season.
Yeah.
So if people miss one, they can do the other. Is it going to be at the North Lincoln Fire again?
I'm not sure where she'll have it. Yeah.
Oh no, your.
Ours will be in Newport
Oh,
this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Glad I asked.
Yeah. So traditionally we used to rotate it. So last year I think Jenny did too. So this year we'll do Newport since Cassidy's hosting her own.
Okay.
And it'll likely be at the rec center.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll have flyers and lots of good information about what to expect and time and who's going to be there and all that good stuff on our Facebook and our website, like probably by early August, late July.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Sam, anything else you want to add as we're wrapping up?
The only thing I would add is if you aren't signed up for Lincoln Alerts, make sure you sign up. It's on our website. It's very easy. Call the office if you have questions. We can talk you through it. And that's how you'll get information from us, like evacuation notices. So make sure you get on there and put your info in.
And of course, emergency information will always be available on our website and by listening to your local radio station, 100.7 The Otter will also have information for you locally as needed too.
Yeah.
So. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Coffee with Kiera, sponsored by The Human Being in Newport at 6th Street and Highway 101, and in Lincoln City at the north end of the highway on the west side next to TLC Credit Union. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Coffee with Kiera. I'm Kiera Morgan.